Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie, aka Babo, for his role in private broadcasting development in Ghana. No man can be a good citizen who is not a good husband and a good father, who is not honest in his dealings with other men and women, faithful to his friends and fearless in the presence of his foes, quote and unquote, Theodore Roosevelt. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie was a compassionate man with conviction, commitment, and candor. These values inspire his unrelenting beliefs in freedom, liberty, human rights, and good governance. As a founding CEO of Network Broadcasting Company, operators of Radio Gold 90.5 FM, he subscribed to the notion of a democracy that delivers and inspires through divergent opinions. In this regard, he asserted that Ghanaian citizens can be uplifted through a democracy that truly and delightfully delivers to the needs of its citizens. Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie, otherwise known as Babo, as he was affectionately called, was a literary titan, master of political satire, and a matchless maestro of socio-economic and religio-cultural metaphors. All these he deployed to strengthen and widen the frontiers of liberty, freedom, and good governance for the Republic of Ghana. Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie was born in 1950 in the Western North region of Ghana. He graduated from the University of Cape Coast in Ghana with a Bachelor of Arts degree in education, in history, 1978-79, and a Master of Arts degree in international affairs from Ohio University, USA, 1980 to 81. His tenure as Chief Executive of Radio Gold was a crucible for media freedom, pluralism, and divergent opinions. The real and impactful voice of the voiceless in Ghana. Many found vociferous vitality and elegant expression on mainstream radio, on programs such as Keneu, hosted then by Kwame Sepakai, now of Peace FM. The Friday Morning Rejoinder, co-hosted by Paul Adumotre and Carlos von Brazil, also known as Charles Adumoah Bosman, a Deputy Chief of Staff of the Office of the President. Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie was not only a firm believer of first-generation human rights. These are political and civil rights for this beloved country. He pivoted towards second-generation rights, such as economic, cultural, and social rights. Substantially, third-generation rights such as development, peace, healthy environment, and common heritage loom large on the wealthy and unrivaled contents on Ghana's power station, Radio Gold 90.5, the station for the most. The radio jingle, the radio station rules the nation with a vision, resonates with practical wisdom, political correctness, and phenomenal philosophy of a radio station that is purposeful, progressive, and poignantly poised to stand for Ghana's motto, freedom and justice. Alhaji and Alhaji, a Saturday morning talk show on Radio Gold, emerges as the mother of all talk shows in the Republic of Ghana because its menu of content is nourished with issues on human rights, freedom, liberty, good governance, public accountability, transparency in public office, and national cohesion. Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie manifestly and democratically ensured that his leadership ushered these contents of balanced diet, of critical conversations on Radio Gold 90.5 MHz in the interest of the Ghanaian public and the world at large. It is under the leadership of Baffoe-Bonnie at Radio Gold that an investigative story the station reported made the government of Ghana to re-examine and reconsider the CNTCI loan. The loan agreement and its related stories spurred investigative journalism and due diligence in the public sector to a dignified level. Radio Gold and Baffoe-Bonnie are optimistic about Ghana's socio-economic development and sustainability, which is anchored on its multi-party democracy. Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie believed in the Pan-African agenda and got Radio Gold to curate programs to promote the African cause. Platform Africa on Radio Gold discussed issues of importance to the African, including aviation on the continent, role of World Bank and IMF to Africa's development, the impact of slavery on Africa's growth, sustainable public transport system on the continent, and the impact of corruption to Africa's development, among a flurry of topical concerns, not excluding leadership and management of natural resources on the continent. The role of music and music programs to highlight Ghanaian and African culture and heritage was splendidly and superbly fashioned as a strategic policy at Radio Gold under the capable leadership of Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie. It is imperative to state that Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie was a private citizen whilst at Radio Gold, and Radio Gold 90.5 is a private going concern. The greater good of the Ghanaian society was powerfully paramount to both Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie and Radio Gold. The principle at Radio Gold was and continues to be public interest at all times. Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie understands and extols the virtue of liberty, freedom, and good governance. He appreciates liberty and freedom as a political value. He moved from the private office as Chief Executive of Radio Gold to the office of the Vice President, and subsequently to the office of President John Dramani Mahama as a political appointee and public servant. His stint and stewardship at the office of President provided him with the catalyst to continue to echo his commitments to human rights, freedom, liberty, and good governance. Kwesi Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie loves Ghana. He loves Africa. Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie loves his family. He loves Radio Gold. Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie loves the media, culture, and the arts. He loves great interviews and insightful African dramas. He loves politics with divergent views. Kwesi Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie is a voracious reader and certainly have read many books, but 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene and Geoff Elfers is one that was very close to him. A quotation from this book will suffice. Mr. Speaker, quote, "Do not leave your reputation to chance or gossip. It is your life's artwork, and you must craft it, hone it, and display it with the care of an artist," unquote. The story of Kwesi Sainti Baffoe-Bonnie is a story of freedom, a story of liberty, a story of human rights and good governance. His story is one of a believer in the freedom of expression in democratic Ghana. He was a fire that blazed a trail of private media, that held government feet to the fire of accountability. And now his watch has ended. Babu, Damirfadwe, until we meet again.
For the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I was itching to speak. I want to thank the maker of the statement, Honorable Suyini, for the tribute. Mr. Speaker, I did not meet Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie. He's spent years at Radio Gold or in the music industry. Mr. Speaker, I met Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie when he was advisor to the President, President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, I found Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie very, very, very helpful. At the time, I could easily describe him as the troubleshooter. Met him in a very difficult time in the 2014, the times when, as a minister of energy, there was a lot I was dealing with. I needed somebody I could count on and talk to. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie came in handy. He spoke Sefi, I spoke in Zima, and we could understand each other. And he, at all times, would correct me. In the middle of the night, he would come at home. He knew my family. And his advice and counsel, Mr. Speaker, was very, very helpful. He was very kind. He was very available at all times when you needed him, and he was down to earth even though we had age differences. Mr. Speaker, I think we can go on and on, but it was so important that I rise and speak about the role Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie played to support me as a minister, not only me, but my colleagues, and the help and the guidance he gave in the terrain. And on occasions like this, Mr. Speaker, we have to talk about his very personality. He was very kind and very dedicated, but he did not take life so seriously in the sense of seeing that he has enemies at all. He was always very friendly. And every time you are with him, everywhere you go, you see everybody knew him and coming to him. And so, Mr. Speaker, we've lost somebody who was truly a Ghanaian, committed to our country, very lovely, and he did not allow our political divide to be a barrier at all in everything he did. And so on this occasion, Mr. Speaker, we pay tribute to his contribution to our country. We pay tribute and we mourn with the family on these very difficult times. And I want to pray that may God keep his soul. Thank you very much for the opportunity to associate myself with the statement made by the Honorable Suini in respect of Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie. Speaker, Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie, we all acknowledge, was a very affable personality who tried in diverse ways to reach out to both friends and foes, to allies and opponents. Speaker, I remember when we traveled together to Korea in pursuit of the STS agreement. When we went there, the current speaker had just become the Minister for Works and Housing. And when we saw the draft agreement, myself, the Honorable Akuto say, critiqued it and said it wasn't good enough. The speaker, as I said, who had just become the Minister for Works and Housing in place of the Honorable Abongo, agreed with us that it wasn't tidy. We're trying to persuade the then Vice President not to sign. Other people opposed us. Other people in the entourage opposed us, and were insisting that the agreement should be signed. But we had traveled to Korea, and eventually he agreed with us. Mr. Baffoe-Bonnie agreed that having traveled, we couldn't just abandon the course, that the Vice President should initiate the agreement and then await the further review in order for us to assent to the agreement. It was a disappointment when, on the account of this, when we came back to Ghana, people disagreed with us. And then they had to bring the agreement to Parliament in about the same shape as we saw in Korea. I was sorely disappointed. But then he kept banging on the doors that we should come together as one people to do what is right for the country. The Speaker, so I can, at a personal level, attest the little that I saw of him, that he was one person who helped strongly to reconcile and have consensus building on issues. The Speaker, he set up a broadcast station to advertise the cause that he believed in, especially the responsibility and accountability of government to the people of Ghana. The Speaker, Article 162 clause 6 of our Constitution provides that any medium for the dissemination of information to the public which publishes a statement about or against any person shall be obliged to publish a rejoinder, if any, from the person in respect of whom the publication was made. Did Radio Gold accede to this? The Speaker, the issue is, if they did it, can anybody hold the man personally accountable for that. I, on 2 occasions, submitted rejoinders to matters that have been published against me, but they elected not to read it. But, Mr. Speaker, the point is, can the owner be held personally liable for such? As I said, on a personal level, I saw that willingness in him to try to build bridges. 163 of the Constitution provides all state-owned media shall afford opportunities, fair opportunities and facilities for the presentation of divergent views and dissenting opinion. That's for the state media. 164 of our Constitution provides that the provisions of Articles 162 and 163 of this Constitution are subject to the laws that are reasonably required in the interest of national security, public order, public morality, and for the purpose of protecting the reputations, rights, and freedoms of other persons. The Speaker, in particular, the Constitution in its preamble provides that whatever we do as a nation, as a collective, as individuals, we must, by our action, uphold the integrity and stability of our country. Is it the case that the state, the broadcast station that is set up, pursue this? In all fairness, let's leave that to posterity. But that, as an individual, he stood out as a person who sought to build bridges, cannot be taken away from him. Mr. Speaker, in that regard, and at his demise, I believe that first we should pray to God to hold his family together and God to give him eternal rest in the bosom of his Creator.